Hello, hello. All right, so I'm sure you probably have all seen videos out there on how to make your own little journals out of one sheet of paper. And I'm sure there's multiple ways to do it, but this is how I do it, and I thought I would share it with you because I thought it would be great for this collaboration if we all created kind of the same type of little journal for our fuck books. But if you have a different one that you really want, an accordion book or something like that, please feel free to do what it is that you want. But there's not a lot of pages in this, so it would be relatively easy to fill it up with different sayings and quotes. So anyway, you can go with any size paper. It doesn't really matter. This works for smaller pieces of paper. You'd have a really small one, which you wouldn't really be able to journal much in. Bigger ones, like you went with a bigger sheet, it would just obviously be a bigger book. I just pulled this out of an old, like an ocean navigation book. I think you can see kind of the numbers underneath. I would recommend covering it with clear gesso, white gesso, black gesso, whatever you want. It just adds stability to the paper, especially when you're folding it up, and if you're adding mediums to it, it's easier to do it as one sheet instead of on each page, but you do you, however you are comfortable with it. I also like to just get some color down on the paper because when you fold it up, you see the little pieces of it, and I really love that. I love the pieces of the whole, and I just then took my pencil and scribbled across it, so I'll get little snippets of it here and there on each page. You don't need to do both sides because the one side will be hidden when you fold it up, so just do one side. But if you want to do both, again, whatever kind of floats your boat. This is about, you know, your creative process and what you're comfortable with. I'm just sharing kind of how I make these books. So I went ahead and I just put a couple of spray mist with one of the most recent Stencil Girl Stencil Club stencils. There's several different ones on here. Can't really make out the designs, but I don't have to think about the background. I just laced them down, a few spritzes of spray. I actually went across it with a wet paintbrush just to kind of activate the sprays just a little bit, but it just created just a random background. So what you'll need to do, you'll need a pair of scissors, you'll need a bone folder, you'll obviously need your paper, gesso if you choose to put color on the background or some sort of designer pattern on the background. Do that, already did it. Flip your page over. So you want the side that you intend to work on in your finished book down. The first step is just to fold it in half lengthwise, and the trick is to really get your edges very crisp. So that's where the bone folder comes into play. So you want to fold it in half lengthwise, and then fold each one of those halves lengthwise. And again, making sure your edges are nice and crisp. So let me flip this over and do this side. And you'll see how important it is that your lines are, you know, straight and your edges are crisp when you go to start folding your book together. So now you can see we have 4 lengthwise kind of rows. So we folded it the first time this way. So now we want to fold it in half the other way. Again, with your painted side down, and again, just making sure your edges are lined up and your edges are nice and crisp. And just like before, fold each one of these halves in half. So what you will end up with are 16 squares. So if we were to open this back up again, there will be 14 or 4 squares here, 4, 4, and 4 this way. So you have 16 squares on your paper. It's hard to see in this light, but there is 16 here. So the next step is entirely up to you. You can either create a landscape book or a portrait book. And to be honest with you, I kind of forget until I cut it and then I just go with it. But I'm going to cut my paper with this being landscape, and we'll see how the finished book turns out. But you could also cut, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute, cut this way and your book will be a different shape. But I'm going to go ahead and cut mine this way. So what you'll want to do is on your paper, so this is the first square, the intersection of the first square, this is the intersection of the second, and this is the intersection of that kind of third bundle. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. You want to cut along that fold line all the way up to this last one. You don't want to cut that obviously because then you've cut it in half. So here's 1, 2, 3. So this is the fourth one. So I've stopped here. So then you have your one fold here, you have your one fold here, and then you have another fold here. So you want to cut this side exactly the same as the other side, all the way up. So you're going up 1, 2, 3 squares. Then you want to take your paper and flip it around, and you want to go up the center the same way. And it is important that your lines are fairly straight. Mine aren't so much. And again, you'll see what I mean when we go to fold the book. So now what you've got, it kind of looks like a W or an M. If you have it the other direction. And that's kind of what your book's going to be. So what you need to do is, so where it's naturally folded here, so you can, on your paper, you'll see what I mean. When we folded it, this is naturally kind of folding in the center. And you'll want to just like fold up. This is kind of tricky. You want to fold up, again, naturally kind of where the folds are going. And I'll have to tell you if this is wrong. I'll have to let you know because it may be wrong. So now you've kind of have this. So you can see on this side, there is no opening here, but on this side there is an opening. So you want to fold it in half that way. And then, so on this side it's open again. The other side is not. You want to fold these two down. And then this will be your book. Let me show you. So you'll have the cover and the cover. So those two are your flaps. So you can put fabric covers or another piece of paper cover and it would actually go over the binding here if you want, if you really want to decorate it. But then on inside, so I did fold it correctly. Now you see each one of my little pages and what I was talking about. So when you see, I really wouldn't have planned that, but I love how this white space is up here on the top, and I'll probably use that for journaling. You can see I'm picking up different elements, and it takes on a whole different look. Now when you have just pieces of the whole, this one just has a lot of white space with a little bit of color, and this one's really bold. So I will show you again how to fold that up because it does get a little complicated if I can unfold my paper here. All right, so let's get back to this W shape. So again, you want to kind of follow the natural folds of the paper. So it's down like this, and you'll want to just kind of grab it to where it's folded up naturally how the folds were from when you folded the original piece of paper. So you can see it bends this way because it's open on that side, but not on that side. So you want to bend it to where it's open. And then the loose ends that are over here, which will probably be on your left, so this side is not loose, you can see this side is, those will just get folded back on themselves. And then here is the wings of your cover and the pages. So then what I do on the inside is just take a glue stick, or if you want to use any sort of other glue, if you have double-sided tape or whatever your medium is of choice. So again, this is my cover. So you can see this is one page. So I'm going to just glue this to the one behind. Just make sure I get that really down. So now that page is stuck down. So you can see here, so if I were to fold this, it's open right here in the center. So I'm going to glue these two together. So this one was open here, and I've glued those two together. So I'll go through my whole book, glue my pages down, let it set aside, let that glue just really dry a little bit, and then I can start working on my book. So you can see that paper, I don't know, it was probably a 9 by 12 maybe, that book size. And it made a little journal. This is about 2 inches wide, 3 inches tall, which is one of my favorite sizes, 2 by 3. I love working in little ones. So obviously if you want a little bit of a bigger book, you can go with a bigger sheet of paper. If you want to work really small, you can go smaller. But this is nice because like this will be a nice little spread for me, and it's a cute little book that I can work in. And so at the end of the day too, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages, which is totally doable. It's not overwhelming for my little book. And that is it. So let me know if this is what you're going to create, and if you have any questions about it, or if you have a different technique, please share it with the group. I think it would be fun if we all had similar types of books for our project, but again, kind of whatever you prefer. So that is it. Bye-bye.